All right, we're back with another Dap Talk. This is Garrig, and we're going to get to know what's next. In each episode, we're exploring the future of decentralized applications. In this episode, we chat with the team at Hearo FM, Brian and Andrew Antar. Their vision is to even the playing field for musicians using cryptocurrency to remove intermediaries and pay artists directly. Pretty cool. Let's learn more. It's good to see you guys again and see how much progress Hearo FM has been making with Helix. It'll be exciting to hear what the latest is.
Yeah, Hong Kong was great. We just finished the 10-week Helix program, and they did a great job putting together programming and bringing in mentors, doing overviews of the APIs, and we all worked on building an MVP on Hedera, getting something working on the network, on the test net, and we were able, luckily, to pull it all together. And all the pieces came together on the last day, and we were able to actually demo streaming per second with micropayments on the Hashgraph testnet. So that was exciting.
That's awesome. That's a big win. How were the other participants? Do you find the community of it pretty interesting?
Yeah, it's always good to be with other founders and other people building on Hedera and running into some of the same issues, and we're working together to figure out, best practices together, collaboratively. Everybody was better off.
That's awesome. That's good to hear. Hopefully they keep running the program and we see, you guys are the first batch of many. It'd be nice to have.
Yeah, I hope so.
And so you guys are doing, something I think that's pretty exciting in terms of creating a new marketplace on a public ledger. Can you talk about, in your opinion, why that makes so much sense to do?
So I think that in order for media to really be fully monetized in the internet age, we essentially need a micropayments utility that works really well. And so when we were looking at different options for tokenization and creating a tokenized marketplace and ecosystem around music, we really settled on Hashgraph as the only public ledger that could actually meet the technological needs of doing very fast micropayments with very low fees. And so that's why we decided to jump in head first and build on Hedera and be first. And essentially, no other ledger could really meet our needs.
For those that aren't, too familiar, can you talk a little bit about why you think that media particularly makes sense for this kind of micropayments transformation?
So the existing fiat system is really based off large amounts for every transaction. So anything under $5 or $10 is really not economical, with Visa network charging 30 cents plus 3%. And so when we're talking about media, the consumption of media is on a micro value level, and there's no value exchange mechanism on the internet that doesn't involve the Visa networks. So the only way to monetize media is a sort of all you can eat, $10 or $20 a month subscription to a newspaper or streaming service or video platform. And that's really the only business model that works, but it doesn't work for everybody.
Or it's ad supported.
Yeah, there's ad support as well. So that's another centralized way to pay essentially small amounts for every piece that you consume. But there's no way to directly pay the creator, from the consumer to the creator, to pay a fraction of a penny or under 10 cents essentially for what that content's worth, or what that one read or a couple minutes of consumption is actually worth. There's currently no direct mechanism to make a payment instantly and seamlessly across any country, any border, from the creator to the consumer.
That's exciting and pretty powerful, I think. So what are you guys doing specifically at Hearo FM to make that more possible?
So essentially, we're building a tokenized marketplace on top of a music streaming platform. So our whole mission is to enable artists to be able to earn a living from their music. And currently the music industry is woefully undermonetized, and artists are getting screwed over. And essentially they're not getting their fair share. And so we're solving the problem in two ways. One, we're disintermediating the marketplace. So we're cutting out the middleman and going direct to fan. So the first thing is enabling fans to be able to pay artists directly. And then we have to create a business model and consumption model that makes sense for fans. So essentially a pay-as-you-go, you only pay for what you use. And so what we're doing is we're monetizing streaming on a per second basis. So when the music gets played, the artist gets paid instantly for the exact amount of seconds anywhere in the world. And so what we were able to do is attach the wallets that are running on Hedera to every user on Hearo. And then we actually deployed an ERC20 contract on the testnet and generated 1 billion jam tokens.
Mm-hmm.
And then we created a media streaming server that measures the amount of seconds per stream. So when you click stop, pause, or go to the next song, you initiate a transaction. And that would transfer jam from one wallet to the other wallet. So from the listener directly to the creator. And if the listener is actually listening for the first time, discovering new music, they can get paid. So it'll be the other way around.
That's awesome. And then if I remember correctly, too, you have some type of incentivized design around people and artists trying to get their work more promoted. Is that correct?
Yeah. So basically on the artist side, if they, release a new single or a new album or what have you, they can use Hearo almost like an ad engine, like Facebook ads, and essentially buy listens. So they want to buy a package of, say, 10,000 listens for their new album. They can do so and target fans of a specific demographic in an area or genre that they like. So, yeah.
So it's essentially a two-sided marketplace where that first discovery listen, when you've never heard a song before, is worth more to the artist. And then once you've actually discovered the song and you decide that you like it, then those subsequent listens will pay out directly to the artist. So as a fan, you'd be able to hop on the platform and start earning jam tokens just for discovering new music. And then once you start to dig in and listen to the artists that you really love, then you're actually supporting them directly by paying the artist.
Nice. That's great. It seems like you guys are really coming at it from a fresh perspective and seeing how you can really make the most of this new world that we're living in. You guys are, super early on. If anybody's seen the Hedera 18 videos, you guys were front and center, one of our earlier users. Can you talk a little bit about kind of the pain points and the lesson learned that you guys have had?
Well, we've, learned that there's definitely a price to being first, but we hope that, the first mover advantage will benefit us greater in the long run. So while a lot of other startups have decided to wait for open access and wait until things are proven out, we decided that we're going to essentially live or die by Hedera because it's the only technology that really fulfills our vision. And we would have to make major trade-offs otherwise. So our goal first and foremost is to make it work with Hedera by hook or by crook. So our app is primarily a Python-based app with Django. And so, of course, we wanted to use the Python SDK first and foremost. But because the way Hedera was built, starting with Java, the Java SDK is way more robust and essentially gets the updates way quicker. Mm-hmm. And then those things percolate down to the Rust SDK, which auto-generates the rest of the SDKs. So essentially, we spent a lot of time with the Python SDK. We actually patched it and upgraded it so that it could boot in a Linux environment in a Docker container. Wow. And we're planning to actually contribute that back to Hedera if they don't get around to it before we do. So, and then we decided that in order to actually run smart contracts for a demo day and actually generate the jam tokens and show what we said we would show, we had to pivot last minute or in the last few weeks to working on the Java SDK because that was the only one that would enable smart contracts. And so we were able to get our testnet configured to actually support smart contracts as well as wallet creation. And then we built a Spring API wrapper around the Java SDK so our Python app can interact with it directly without having to rebuild everything in Java. And then so we basically were able to call the various Java functions in the SDK, which calls protobuf, to actually make things happen. So it's a little hacky, but we still were able to get it to work and prove out a lot of questions that we had about how things would work. And we were able to generate the jam tokens, create new wallets, call the smart contract for transfers for the exact amounts based on the per second streaming. And then we created a wallet UI and dashboard, which shows all of your listening events, all the transactions, as well as how much jam you have in your wallet. And these are real Hedera wallets holding jam on the testnet. And we were able to show that in the UI. And we also came across other issues that we didn't expect. So one thing with crypto, one of the biggest UX issues is your wallet security. So custody of your private keys is generally up to the user. So if you lose your seed phrase or your private keys or your password, you're essentially out of luck. And so because, crypto has faced huge UX barriers to entry from just normal people, we decided that having a super complicated onboarding and memory situation with people who are not familiar with crypto was not really going to work for us. Mm-hmm. While it worked for the crypto community who is willing to work through this type of stuff on a consumer dApp, it's just not going to fly. So we created a whole managed wallet private key custody solution. So essentially we're managing the wallet similar to an exchange, but they're real wallets that are actually holding the user's crypto. Unlike an exchange which sweeps everything away into cold storage, they only use the wallets for transfers. We actually have real decentralized wallets, and we have a private key custody solution, which allows us to have custody of the private keys in a fully encrypted way, as well as a recovery scenario with multi-sig that allows somebody to totally forget their password. And if there's something wrong with their account, there's still a way at the end of the day to recover. Essentially, you're creating new private keys and transferring. You set a beneficiary and you can unlock the wallet with multi-sig and it would create a new wallet for you. So we figured out a problem that could actually improve the UX of crypto on a lot of different dApps. And we're going to be using it first on our dApp. And then another exciting part of that wallet solution is having a very simple, compliant, SEC, US compliant fiat on-ramp and off-ramp. So we work directly with Carbon. They created a portal called Carbon Fiber, and there's an exchange function where you can actually buy Carbon with a credit card or a bank transfer. It's $1 backed, and upon buying it, it automatically exchanges for jam tokens. So from the user's perspective, you put in a credit card and you're buying jam tokens. And then you can exchange those US dollars and push it right to your bank account. So essentially, from a wallet standpoint, we have super easy and accessible onboarding, management of private keys and wallet custody, as well as a very simple fiat on-ramp and off-ramp, which will make it easy to get in and out of your bank account.
That's awesome. It sounds like you guys have been putting in a lot of work there. And I'm sure these are, experiences that it seems like every decentralized app is running into, and we'd love to hear more about and share more about. So what's next for you guys? It seems like you've made progress a ton. How do you go from here?
Well, we really wanted to get something working on Hedera for demo day with Helix, and we accomplished that goal. So now our next goal is the Series A. So essentially, we're doing a private raise in our Series A, mostly from institutional funds, people who are interested in the Hedera technology, interested in music. We've been putting together our advisory board with some celebrity artists as well as people in the music industry who have a ton of experience. So we'll have some announcements very soon about that. And essentially, we're getting ready to do our Series A starting within the next few weeks, actually.
That's awesome. Congrats and best of luck there.